of the concept of Chinese travelers is about, Sichuan and Yilong represent the online travel. However, during the last 5 years, a lot of things happening. For example, the search engine is, going the market. For example, Baidu and Qunar. Baidu is the most popular general search engine in China. It's about 80% of the market share, more dominant than Google. And Qunar is a travel search engine, which is vertical specific for the travel market. So it becomes the biggest travel site in China. So this is more, the search engine is different from the OTA model. And interestingly, the e-commerce website are draining the market. They want to focus on the travel as well because everybody sees the huge growth rate of the travel. And also there are some, social media and applications, various applications emerging in China market. So what we see in the last year, because at the beginning only the the most popular online travel theme is about pay in front at the front desk of the hotel. You only make the reservation through the internet or call center. So the prepay and LBS is become more popular. And you can see the last minute sales, what the behavior and what the hotel locations. For example, what time is the most popular for different areas. This is more LBS services. And some new trends is about B&B hotels, apartment rental, and the boutique hotels. It become more and more popular in China. One thing I need to mention about the group buying business. You can see it's amazing that the one of the biggest group buying website, actually they have the triple volume of the biggest OTA in China, the volume of the group buying hotel. And you can see the various increase during the last year. Actually, China's increase actually is double their increase ratio. And behind the price war, we do see the the distribution. The hotels need to reconsider how do they do the revenue management, because diversified sales model will lead the change of the user behavior. So last 1 minute, I want to share with you guys some simple data about international, because everybody here may be interested in the travelers in China market. So congratulations. Hong Kong, Macau, and Thailand is the most popular destination for Chinese travelers. And how do they buy tickets? Right now they are still focused on the domestic airlines, the Chinese airlines. And they are very price sensitive, and they want to select the direct flight. Also, they pay by credit card and Alipay. Alipay is most popular online payment in China, which belongs to the Alibaba group. So basically, I'm done here, and we can talk after the. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Denise. You can see one innovation that is taking place here. Asians are not known for being very punctual people, but that's the most punctual presentation I've seen in a long time. James, you want to get on? Well done, Denise. You're going to have a lot of questions later, I'm sure.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. My presentation is a little bit more broad, I guess you could say. My background is not in IT or technology or internet necessarily. I'm a hotel developer. But we own half of the hotels in my group that we work, which is more than $1.5 billion US under development now. And so we do have to pay very close attention to what kind of IT systems we put into our hotels. And I've also, just from a perspective as a customer, had a few different observations in general. So I'm going to go over just a few of those real quick, if possible. First, I was just going to talk about IT in terms of driving sales, driving efficiency, and then enhancing guest experience. Again, from a broad level, not just internet type of things, but IT on a broad level. As you may have heard in the last few years here, there was one of our great friends in the industry that spent $18 million on a website. You may know that's the Four Seasons. which a lot of people thought was pretty crazy. Never in the history of the hotel hospitality industry that anyone spent so much money on a website. But when we actually look at it, we see a few things. On average, 35 to 45% of revenue is generated online for hotels. That's not just the corporate website, of course, but all other channels. Now, only 2% for this specific company for Four Seasons, there's only 2% growth in the last 5 years before they put the 18 million into it. They expect that their website will last for about 5 years before it becomes completely obsolete and they'll have to put another 18 million in. Right now, Four Seasons has 90 hotels in operations with ADRs above $300 US. So, right now, currently 12% of the room revenue is coming from the website. Now, if we look at that, interestingly, what we see is with a small conversion rate, they should be able to get a $600 million return on that investment from room revenue. And if you calculate the conversion into other F&B sales, it's well over $1 billion. So when you look at it in terms of that, it's not so crazy anymore. The advancements that are being applied into websites from hotels are costing more money, but they're definitely more worth it. Social media, that has been talked about, and I'm not an expert, but I can tell that this is an area that is going to have more and more focus. We actually, from our conversation earlier with a professor from Macau, we actually did hire a professional social media expert from the States to come over and help us. The problem that we find is it's difficult to figure out what the actual conversion is, what money you're actually making in social media, but that's obviously a new place in the future that's going to become more important, and also better precision targeting marketing online. So in terms of driving sales through these websites, those are the things that I thought were important. Another interesting point from technology. We have a few hotels in Hong Kong, 3 actually. We just spent $19 million renovating one of them, which did not include any type of M&E, mechanical and engineering renovations, no structural changes, just basic renovations. We expect to get a 30% increase in our room rates from that, which this is one of the best kind of renovations I've ever seen in the industry. That would mean our break-even point would be 2 years, just over 2 years, which is pretty impressive. But in another experience that I had recently, a hotel in Singapore, this goes back to Denise's point just a minute ago about revenue management. They spent $230,000 US on a revenue management system, including a new revenue manager. In less than 12 months, they experienced an increase of more than 14 million US dollars. Now, of course, on a pro rata basis, that's not the same as ramping up, but that's five and a half days what they made their money back on. So in terms of IT, in terms of online, asset management, where is the best place to put money? In our opinion, from the hotelier's perspective, it's things like this. So driving efficiently through IT and through developments of connectivity online and through programs such as revenue management. I'm also a doctoral student at Hong Kong Polytechnic University, which has recently become a partner with Revenue Science Corporation, which have an office based here in Bangkok. And actually my friend Amish, if anyone has questions later, was the group involved in the Singapore hotel project. It's making there's huge advancements now. Also things that we see in terms of checking in and out. Last week I was in Shanghai, and the CEO of Hyatt was giving a speech talking about how all of these phones, all of this technology is making us be less personal, and saying people crave personal interaction. That's true, but sometimes it's also maybe not true. I traveled 300 days last year, and sometimes the last thing I want to see after getting off of an 8-hour flight is a cheerful person asking me how my flight was. The idea of technology, especially through online platforms, to allow customers in the hotel industry to choose is significant. Sometimes I don't want to talk to anyone. If there's a way I can check in without meeting anyone, great. Other times I'm at a resort, maybe I'd like to have some friendly chit-chat, also great. But let me choose my level of interaction. Back of house as well, efficiencies through procurement and other things. The last slide, hopefully I can finish out of schedule a little bit, is on another macro scale, which I would call the inevitable future. Going back to China and how then IT is impacting us in our operations. We have 7 hotels in China right now in operation, another 6 under development. Now, So China is obviously changing. We know in terms of the economy, it was a big exporter economy. We know that's changing to a consumer economy. That's great for the Chinese people. It's great for the world in general. It's great for tourism. But it also means that if people are turning to a consumer-based economy, it means they're getting more money. They're being paid more, so they're spending more, which is great. But if their salaries are increasing by 10% or more a year, that means we're paying them a lot more money. And from the hotel industry, which is a very labor-intense industry, that means our bottom line is being impacted, and it is becoming more and more difficult to generate profits. So technology we have to be able to better utilize in order to create that personal interaction which we need when we need it, and to be able to take a step back and use automated processes and systems through online bookings, reservations, check-in, revenue management, and other type of systems. So from that perspective, enhancing the guest experience, which can decrease our reliance on labor, such as temperature control. These are simple things that guests complain about more than anything else. Get the temperature right. Get the security right. Figure out how I can watch the TV shows that I want to watch. What are easy reservation systems? I know we all like to put iPhone jacks in all of the rooms now, but in 2 years, what are we going to do? These simple things are important, and so from my perspective as a hotelier, these are the types of IT solutions I think that we need to look for in the future to drive these points. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant, James. Thank you very much indeed. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions on the hotel experience side as well. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Kun Arya. I also want to just let you know a small thing that you won't read on the biodata. Thammasat University may have a college of innovation, but it's actually a college, more a university of revolution rather than innovation. And I think Kun Arya's grandfather, Kun Pridi, you can research him on the internet, will have a lot to do with that. But I'm not going to go into any further details on that. You can research that. It's a fascinating piece of history between the surname of the next speaker's family and this university. Kun Arya, go for it.
Yeah, it's always a special place to speak at here for me. So while they put in my presentation, there are a couple of points I wanted to make based on what the previous speakers have said as well. I think it's interesting. I like the example of the Four Seasons spending like 18 million US on a website. You know, what it tells you is this: there's this perception about when we talk about online and the internet that you can get your way around and maybe do something for free and and cheap, but you're running a business. Right? There's nothing that comes for free. Right? First point, important point. So you have to take away this perception of online. You can download a lot of things for free, movies, music, and stuff like that. But when it comes to doing business, it's not different from opening a shop or your agency and that kind of stuff. All this stuff costs you money, but hopefully they make you money as well, right? So it's a great example. 18 million US. Well, it's the first time I heard that as well. So I'll use that example in the future. Business inside. So. The second point I wanted to share with you is, if you look at what's happening in a lot of countries, not just in Thailand or not just in this region, you've seen that actually the internet has completely changed the way we do business, right? And you see so many examples of industry, even the tech industry, being impacted. Everything is going faster, right? And surprisingly enough, you're actually dealing with travelers who are probably the most connected consumers. And I get a feeling that you're not so connected compared to your consumers, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have this discussion today. But if you look at it, you were talking about going on vacation. When I went to Koh Lipe, which is like I hope it was a really remote island in the south of Thailand, And first thing I see is on the beach, everyone was like with their laptop, with their tablet, with their smartphone, and all of them were connected. So it's very funny, you know, on the supposedly isolated beach of Thailand, like very remote, supposedly no access, they were all on the internet on the beach. Right? So that's the key point I wanted to make with you. Let me go to this. One of the questions I often get is, so but what should I use? Should I use Facebook? Should I use Google? Should I use this? Should I use that? And you're kind of struggling on tools when you should actually focus on consumers. Right? So at Google, what we did is we've broken down what we call the traveler consumer journey into 5 phases. And each of these phases, what you have to understand is the tools you have at your disposition, you have to use them at the right moment. You know, Facebook is great for social interactions, Google is great for other things, so use them the right way. You don't have to use all of them, you don't have to use all of them for the same thing, you just have to understand what's the purpose. Not just, okay, I'm going to go back and create a fan page, or I'm going to, without even understanding what you want to achieve with these tools, right? And so basically what we do is we usually break this down into 5 phases, and these 5 phases are consumer phases, not technology related. So the first phase is about what we call dreaming. So dreaming is basically when I go onto my, let's say, I go onto a social network and I see my friend just went to China, and I say, oh, great food, and you know that Asian likes to take pictures of food, right? So I say, oh, where was this place? And then you start thinking, oh, maybe I should go to China. Yeah? Or maybe I should go to Phuket. So that's the dreaming phase, right? That's when you start thinking about it. And what comes next is planning. You know, dreaming is, it's going to be a lot about, you know, social networks and how you share with your friends. And it's not just online. Right? It's, tonight I'm going to a restaurant, my friend just came back from, you know, came back from France, and he's going to tell me all about this. And then I'm going to say, oh, maybe I should go like next year or in 6 months, right? Then planning. So now that you think about, oh, I want to go to Phuket. So what do you do in Phuket? How do you go to Phuket? That's the planning part of it, right? That's when you start searching for information, and the best place to find out all this information is the internet. When you're in Australia, how do you find information about Thailand? By opening books? Yeah, can do. But it's a bit slow. You go straight to the internet and you have all the answers you want. Which hotel, which beach, what activity, what restaurant, recommendations. Then you start planning your trip. Right? And naturally you get into booking. Right? And as James pointed out, a lot of the booking, I think you said 40% of 4 Seasons booking are online. As you might have noticed, there's an AirAsia logo. So that's actually that was a presentation that we did together. AirAsia, 80% of their sales are online, but it didn't happen by chance. Today it might sound obvious. Yeah, they are low-cost airline. They should be online, right? But you know that we had a discussion with the CEO of AirAsia about 10 years ago. You know, imagine 10 years ago in Thailand, the internet penetration, the infrastructure, everything wasn't what it is today, and today is not that great yet, right? But they already believed and started investing on all that infrastructure and online sales, and at that point it wasn't 80%. It was still a very small 1-digit number, but they made that leap of faith. Right? So booking online, it's a choice, right? And honestly, I don't really like to, I don't want to talk to agents or customer service representatives. It wastes my time. I know what I want, right? So I just go online, I get it, that's it. If I have a problem or I have a specific request, then I reach out. But it's a choice I make, and most of, you know, travelers make the choice to go online. Then you have experiencing. So now that's when you start, you know, traveling. And experiencing is interesting because experiencing starts from you starting to pack your bag. It's not, I'm not even in Phuket. I'm already telling all of you, my friends and non-friends, I'm going to go to Phuket. I'm going to have my new swimsuit in my suitcase. I have bought a new suitcase.